It begins. Alright. We will do the playing first. Hello, Dumbo. How are you today? This hand is fantastic. Spoiler, it pretty well just requires 3 lands and some spells for me to call a hand fantastic. We don't need to be we don't need a lot to be overly satisfied with our hands with blue-white approach. The art on that card is fantastic as well. I'm gonna say fantastic a lot today. Fantastic. I kind of wanted to do a commander stream, but I didn't know if anybody would watch. Not that I think anybody will watch this either, because, there's a Grand Prix and all that. It's kind of interesting. Um, well, I guess we'll protect our Glimmer of Genius. That seems like a card we want to keep. Seems like we care a lot less about the Glimmer of Genius. Today we're trying a few more planes in the deck. We cut. We added a summary dismissals from the side and moved the fourth cast out to the main. And I have to get something out of my again. Great. In all honesty, I'd be tempted to let that card resolve because we already have a removal spell for it. But letting that card resolve means we don't get to cast Glimmer next turn. What's up, McCarty? Casting Glimmer next turn is pretty close to the most important thing that we want to do. Another Collective Brutality. We'll Glimmer, I guess. I guess we'll go ahead and put the Supreme Will on top with the land on top. That way, he can take one of these, but we get to keep the other one no matter what. And whichever one of these we get to keep, we're pretty happy about. There you go to the fourth land. Cast out's not a bad draw, but we're just moving on along, doing blue-white approachy things. Actually, we're not really doing anything this game. It just so happens our opponent is also not doing anything this game. Sure. Go ahead and cast out. This is the third morning in a row that I've got up feeling fine, but as soon as I come over here and sit down, my stomach starts hurting. Kind of awkward. So, had no idea, but apparently our opponent's on a Sultai Reanimator deck, and these decks are actually incredibly hard to beat. Game 1 is usually laughable, game 2 and 3 are really hard. And this is one of the matches I thought the Rivulets would actually help in. So we'll get to finally test this Fury. Maybe. They just go through so many cards. Like even now when we've resolved a Glimmer and stuff, they are 5 cards currently deeper in their deck than we are. So they can always find their negates and stuff post board. Don't want either of those. Oh, that's a Fumigate. The Fumigate's not particularly good here, as they can just buy their thing back, but so we put 2 cards on the bottom already, so we're now 19 cards deep, so we're probably mathematically approaching an approach fairly quickly. I'd like them to commit a little bit of something else to the board. Missed again. Just keep traveling down this little road of looking for things. They have Traverse and Approach. That's not something you see in every deck. So that 6 cards we put on the bottom? We're 31 cards deep now. And we're still chugging along trying to get places. Well, that is 8 cards we've scratched to the bottom now. Hmm. It's happened in our final match last night too, to where just every cast out in our deck was pitifully somewhere hidden on the bottom of the deck. I'm assuming opponent's going to have like probably an Ishkana now. Well, we hit an approach. It may not be fast enough though. This is our 22nd card down in our deck. Or sorry, our 38th card in our deck. So it's pretty hard to win in those situations. And there's the Graph Widow that I was thinking about last turn. It's pretty hard for him to attack now. He knows that we have an Immolating Glare and stuff in our hand. With the amount of mana we have, we can win if we draw Supreme Will as well. That was 4 cards, so this is 5. Running a couple cyclers into each other would also have worked. So if we draw a cycler next turn, or if we draw a Supreme Will, either one's good enough. And if we don't, we're in bad shape. Not super bad shape. We could also draw like a Fumigate. Sure. So, Fumigate, Cycler, Glimmer, Supreme Will, or just drawing another approach. We know the bottom 8 cards of our deck, so a number of those cards being in the top 15, well, he knows that's a mistake. He saw our Blessed Alliance, so that play doesn't make a lot of sense. Could just like not put one of those counters on something. And we'll avoid taking as much damage as we can this turn. And hope that we get another turn. We may or may not. There's a pretty big attack next turn as well. But we have a lot of outs. I'd say about half our deck wins. You know what doesn't win? That card doesn't win. So we're dead. That's a little painful way to lose. Can't even bluff anything. We're just dead. Literally nothing we can do. Opponent can't not kill us. Opponent has an attack for 18. The only way we could win ever is if he didn't attack, and he attacks. Well, that's a little sad. Nothing we could do to win the game, though. Oh well. Onward to the next game. So Liliana's the card that is scariest here. They also have the big spider. These counter spells are as good as, or sorry, these rafts are as good as fumigates in this match, or sorry, are better than fumigates in this match. I'll spit it out. I will say what I'm trying to say at some point. Blessed Alliances aren't super good. They have about 1,000,000 zombies. Immolating Glares are a little better because you can pick the creature you want to attack, but you have to have some of those spells. It's generally safe to take out a couple of these, especially when you're bringing in your negates. You don't want all your rafts. I keep Immolating Glares over top of the Blessed Alliances just because they can kill Tireless Tracker. For the most part, I feel fairly favored in this match. The creature plan doesn't really do much, but he can just have Lost Legacy, so you always have to respect that card. This hand is atrocious. This hand's much better. Looks like we're running on the low end of variance today, but we've been on the high end the past 3 days, so that's fine. Try to speed up the play a tad. We got a cat. If he's got a super slow start, the cat does things. Typically meows. I should have put a unhinged island in my deck because we cut a cataract today, and I'm curious how mad or how sad I am about that already. Sure, don't care. Not that we could do anything if we did care, but it's a good thing that we don't care because we can't do anything about it. Boom, 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 boom. Sure. There's a cast out. That's a pretty good one to draw because, again, Liliana's a pretty annoying card. This also might let the Caracal do a little bit more than normal. Yeah. We can't just let that resolve, so. So start by just go ahead and putting both of those on the bottom. And I guess he's going to take the Caracal now. Poor kitty. Come back, kitty. Kitty. Nope. We have plenty to cycle this turn if we want. Could have played the Cataract in case we cycled into a draw 2, but we've already gone through 2 draw 2s and we sideboarded 2 draw 2s out, so there's only even 3 in the deck. Uh, I guess censoring it's better than cast outing it? Could have played the cataract, or yeah, the blotted cataract, because he already knows we have it, but there's a good chance that I wasn't going to play it at all. Sure. This match is what I consider one of our harder matches. You got a tracker in the graveyard. That's pretty good. We pretty well have to get to approaches soon and he'll not have negate if we have any chance to win this game. Neither of those cards are approaches. Just don't draw an approach outer game. That's an easy way to lose too. A pretty easy way to lose as well. Not really drawing rafts either. The Scent's not even a great spell here. Fumigate would be pretty decent. Neither of those are Fumigate. Probably just dead. Let's do the math. Let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Well then. We do have one Immolating Glare. So we can stop those two, and we take 3, 6, 8, plus 7, we take exactly 15. Alright. Well, this is the one that we don't die from. Puts us drawing pretty thin, though. Just got ran over this game. Ran over pretty hard. We're probably still dead. I've not done the math about him getting this other thing back. So if we block those, we go to 19. We take 6 down to 13. Alright, so he'd only have 10 spiders. We could easily have a negate or something. I'd say we're going down to the losers bracket, friends. Drew reasonably well. We just didn't find any of our 4 rafts in over 20 cards or an approach. Oh, well, I guess we get another chance. Could draw a Descent that's useful now. Doesn't win, but it's useful. I guess we're just dead. We're probably not just dead this turn. Oh no, I am just dead. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. He's already used that. You do like 10 more? Sure. So we have to draw literally exactly a descent next turn and he'll not have a transgress in his last two cards? And that's if we even get another turn. He could have a number of cards that doesn't let us get another turn. That seems like we're drawing pretty thin. This 20 life with an attack though, so we might be able to sneak another turn. Anyway, we are Dobbs on table, so we have to attack. We'll go ahead and attack the Liliana. Attacking his life total doesn't really do anything. Our opponent sideboarded in 2 to slaughter versus us, which I find exceptionally odd. I don't know why I find that so odd, but count up and see how much damage they can do after this turn, which is a bunch, but probably just casting to approach either way. Yep, I'm gonna use the Graph Witter. So this turn he can do 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24? Alright. Might as well try to get another turn. Maybe we can hit a descent. But we're drawing pretty thin. Torrential Gearhulk into like Glimmer might have been a better play, but with his Liliana just ticking up, just stalling another turn doesn't seem great. Having to get lucky seems like what we need to be doing. You put a card on top of his library, and I can't even think of a card you'd put on top of your library that's not negate, so. So I'm imagining we're dead. I can't imagine a card that we can beat. Alright, well, I guess there's cards we can beat now. We can just draw approach. We can draw descent into something as well. So we have 4 fumigates and 2 approaches that are useful. I have a very high chance of being able to get one. We also have enough mana that we could like Supreme Will into an approach. Or not, sorry, not an approach, a fumigate or descent. But we basically have to hit. Oh, next game. We get to play another game. Well, that's fun. I didn't expect to win this game, and I think I played this game very poorly on the first couple turns when I used the sensor and the cast out and stuff. I think I played it very poorly on those turns. So, it's kind of nice to be able to still win like that. These cats just don't do anything in this match. I really just don't want them. I want all of these cards back. Zinvalas and cats just don't do much. The cats did buy us a bunch of time that game, but like we're never going to win by attacking. He's got a lost legacy, he's just got a lost legacy. They're just not a plan to win anyway. Sounds great. It's even good versus his deck. They chose the mulligan. We keep. I should have 2 monitors now so I could be watching the Grand Prix instead of listening to me. See what? Oh, well, he didn't have one of his things. There's an approach already. That's something that we were failing to find in the first 2 games by a lot. Walking Ballista is a good card. Walking Ballistas actually do a lot of damage versus us. Do have a Fumigate this game if it survives transgresses and stuff. So that time we get to game 1, we're already down into red time. Sorry, match 1, we go to red time today. A day that I was kind of wanting the stream to go by a little quick. We're still in match 1 and we're at the 40-minute mark somehow. That's a little scary. Sure. Doesn't play Liliana, I guess we don't care too much. Though the Walking Ballista is a little annoying on its own. If he has a Transgress, we still have something else. He already has Delirium, though. He could just take the approach, but I assume he's going to take a Glimmer or a Fumigate, yeah. So he took one of the Glimmers or Fumigates, which is not unexpected. How are any of the viewers doing today, by the way, if there's anybody still in here watching this? If he pumps it up, we'll glare it. If he doesn't pump it up, we'll hieroglyph it. Looks like he's missing a land drop. Sure, champion resolves. He's down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so the end of this game might not be as fun as we hoped. Alright, well, he hit his land, but he only has 2 cards in hand now. And that's a traverse, so he can go get his Scarab God. Which is his Moneymaker card. Oh, he just got an island. Interesting. May have already had it. Rip. Those cards don't help us. That card doesn't help us. Well then. That is a little floody. Well, we'll take our 3 more damage here, and then we'll try to fumigate in a second. I would like to be watching the Grand Prix myself. A little floody. That's a bad one for us. We don't even have an answer for it right now. Well, we have to go ahead and play this, I think. Not real happy to, but don't think we can take any more damage, and I think we're in really rough shape now. Opponent doesn't have anything but a champion in his graveyard that matters, but he could easily have things like Scarab God and stuff. Yeah. It's going to be a very close game. Nice. Pretty well need to draw a Descent this turn, I think, to have much of a chance. That's not a Descent, boys. What do we do now? He's got a 13. We can always just draw another approach, I guess, but... Well, we're still alive. We can draw... We have 2 scries, so we have 3 draw steps on the following turn. So we have 2 that can hit an approach, 2 that can hit a Descent, and 1 that can hit a Fumigate to get in the following turn, or to get another turn, rather. But yeah, we have to hit, or we're in bad shape. Well, that doesn't do anything, so... We need to find a way to get 1 more turn, and on table we can't get 1 more turn. So we know the card in his hand's a Walking Ballista. So if we kill that, we'll still just die to the Walking Ballista and whatever he buys back with that. So we have to at least cycle once. Need to hit a Descent or a Fumigate. Did not hit a Descent or a Fumigate, so... Don't know what we can do. I mean, we can cast out this and look for the Fumigate, but... Trying to think if there's any other ways. Nope. And we're dead. Had 6 cards to hit and we just didn't come close to getting there. Yep, we're dead. Even if we kill that and that, which we can, we're still just dead to whatever he buys back. Plus the Ballista in hand, rather. Well, whatever he buys back and the Scarab God trigger at this point. That's kind of an annoying way to lose. Had that been one card earlier in the deck, we would have won. Sorry, 2 cards earlier. Would have won pretty easily if we'd hit that. We had the full 6 Wraths in. That's a bit frustrating. Felt like we had to miss with more than half of our deck there for that entire game to go that poorly. After he mulliganed into such a poor draw. I definitely don't have too many lands, though. If anything, I have too few lands, so that was just poor luck. Don't mind to lose, just losing that slow when we didn't get to play the last game, really, is what made it sad. Like a 45-minute loss. And it looks like it's going to be another very slow match. This is very likely to mirror. There are some other blue-white decks, but the mirror is the most popular, so that's why I said very likely. Oh, not the mirror. Could just be Turbo Fog or something. If it's the Ulamog deck, we're not in great shape. And we're rewarded with more lands. Kinda don't want to cycle this cast out because he could be on the Bounty of Luxa deck or have a number of Planeswalkers in those colors. So we'll just keep holding it until we're about to miss a land drop, I guess. If he is playing an approach deck, it's generally whoever casts the first approach wins, even if it doesn't resolve. That's how it typically plays out anyway. And he may not be the approach deck. He could be Turbo Fog. He could be that Ulamog control deck that I've saw before. If he's the Ulamog deck, we're not in great shape. Can probably beat the other two. Would not have counterspelled that because I would have had to discard this turn anyway. So it's like he gave me a card for basically a 1-for-1. No lot, just playing Magic, trying to get a stream done so we can watch the Grand Prix. Opponent keeps counterspelling all of our card draw spells. The problem is, I don't care if any of my card draw spells resolve. I don't care if any of my card draw spells resolve at all, so that's kind of awkward. So there's the Bounty of Luxa, which is why we didn't cycle this cast out all of this time. An opponent needs another counterspell. He could easily have another Supreme Will or another negate. Or his own cast out even. And we resolved the first approach. Which is typically a good sign in these matches. So approach is 6 cards down after our draw step. So that's 4 or 5. We can just draw approach next turn, but it may not win. We're still just going to draw approach next turn, I think. See if we hit a land drop this turn. We definitely don't want that. We definitely want that. Don't want that. Oh, well, there's another approach. We'll go ahead and play this in case he's got a land destruction spell of some kind. And the top card of our library should be an approach, so the next 2 turns we're just casting approach into approach. And hoping one of them's good enough. Or maybe I counted wrong. No, it would have been the top card of my library had I cycled, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, there it is. Like I said, the next 2 turns. My bad. Yeah, don't get the countering the card draw, but what do we know, right? Anyway, so he's a control match. When he shows me bounty, I assume he's on Ulamog, but even if he's not on Ulamog, the summary dismissals are good versus everybody. Don't know if I want any of the Fumigates versus the blue-green deck. Or sorry, the Bant deck. I don't think I want any of the Fumigates versus him. I guess we'll bring in 2 Descents just in case he has Ulamog? I don't know. None of these cards seem particularly appealing versus him. He doesn't have a manland. His kill condition is very likely just an Eldrazi. If he takes out all of his creature removal spells, the cats are very fast clocks. A cat's a 3-turn clock. That sounds fine. We have a Nagat with really cool art. I need to get 2 more of those in paper. Opponent mulliganed. Rivulets are nice cards. Opponent has a good choice in basics at least. Like these they're from the Mirrodin block originally, I think, or maybe the Invasion block. Either way, I like them. Yeah, I changed the deck a little every day. I've been tuning it. We lost round 1 to Reanimator. So far, we have never beat Reanimator. We'll just keep the Censor. We're not missing a land drop. We already have a draw spell. I generally don't like to throw the cyclers away that could have some moderate usefulness unless I know I'm missing a land drop. Because like right now I could just get a Bounty of Luxa if he went for it. He mulliganed too. I would be willing to counterspell like a Glimmer or something since he mulliganed. Not a big fan of counterspelling card draw spells because you get so many turns in the mirrors or in like the control and control matches that you just draw out of like that anyway. But when an opponent's mulliganed and down to 4 cards, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's at least plausible. There's an argument that I should go ahead and try to resolve the Glimmer now that we don't have another land drop, but there's just too many powerful effects that he could resolve. You could just have Gideon, for example. I have not lost to the red version, and I'm about 50-50 versus the blue-white versions. I've not been paired versus the Jeskai. I've never lost to the blue-black. The blue-white's a little hard, though, because they just have so many counterspells post-board, whereas the other builds haven't had that many counterspells post-board. Land? That's not a land. Rip. We'll literally windmill slam this cat if we draw land. Don't even care what he resolves. Get catted. Cat's a 3-turn clock technically, but he still has his sensors in this portion of the game. They've not been censored yet, or cycled yet, which is pretty odd. Bounty of Luxo would be a hard card to beat here, but it's pretty much the only card I really care about. We have a Gearhulk now. It may resolve. Opponent's down to 2 cards though. Excuse me. He's got a sensor, a negate or something. He just has it. Don't care. Could have a Supreme Will. Like, all of this stuff is just fodder till I get to an approach anyway, so I'm not really concerned about him countering any of it. Sure. So cast out. Should do that after he lets me resolve the Glimmer, because it may affect the decision of what I keep with a Glimmer. Because, like, normally I wouldn't have kept this cast out, but now I'm going to keep this cast out to get my Gearhulk back. But normally I wouldn't have kept that cast out. Don't have anything to get with its flashback ability yet, so I'm probably going to try to surprise, or probably going to try to resolve the Supreme Will before I ever bother with the cast out. Did it end up being good? What deck was it, and did it end up being good? Supreme Will. Probably just gonna get a land with this. I would also take an approach, but land's probably the target. feel like I'm so far ahead this game that it's almost already over. He did just Supreme Will twice though, so he could have something. Yep. Wanted to hit a land there. We will protect this with a negate. Yeah, beating mono red is not easy. That sucks, man. Sure. Just nice little Supreme Will back. Again, probably only keeping lands and approaches. Guess a draw 2 is better than a land. I guess a draw 2 is better than a land. Return failure. I'm going to have to look that one up. I don't own the card, so... I mean, sure. Don't care about any of that. Just gonna slam the cat, I guess, then? Let's try failure. Return brought up too many cards, and I apparently don't know how to spell failure wrong. Or right. Turn target spell to its owner's hand. Choose a card name until your next turn opponent's. Nah. Or just have more hard counters. I think. I think I'd rather have more hard counters. Pull from tomorrow. It's not a bad card. I'd never read that card before. I didn't know that was a card. I have learned today. Thraben. Really just want to draw a land. Pretty well every turn for the rest of the game I wouldn't mind to draw a land right now. That's not a land. The pool was a great draw for him. Sure. Wonder if this is a mirror. I'm assuming he was on the Ulamog build of the deck, but could be a mirror. Try to draw some cardies. Hence why we brought this in. That's a negate for my card drawies? Sure. That's 2 negates and 2 supreme wills and a disallow he's going through. He's on kind of a 2-turn clock at the moment. We have a summary dismissal. Bounty of Deluxa? I guess I don't care about it. Is he gonna get to draw 1 card and we still have a summary dismissal? So he has a bunch of land next turn. Sure. He may resolve something. If he does, we'll have to go look for the another cast out. Alright, so 4 cards, you have to resolve something. 3 cards, you have to resolve something. Because we have cats and things. An hour and 10 minutes and we're not even through the second match yet? So an approach to second sun. We'll go ahead and counterspell this. Because we're lethal on board with these guys, there's no reason to let him have the life. If he's got like a negate and a dispel or 2 dispels, sure. But we've already cast 1 second sun, so. Which. Oh, sorry, we've not cast a second sun. Whatever. So it was a second sun deck. I thought he was the Ulamog deck. I was wrong. I'm also brain dead tonight because I'm confusing matches and games. I am probably too asleep to be streaming. This is the build we're trying today, though. I'll try to obtain my phone to see if we have any new followers. Not had a whole lot lately. We have an opponent. For any new viewers, by the way, there's a link to my Twitch or Twitter down below, and my Twitter has a link to my YouTube. Also on my Twitter, you see every time I go live and every time I play first, or every deck I play. Sand's fine, it's not good. And if you're watching from the YouTube, in the description, there's all of those links as well. Yep, this hand's going to need some serious help to beat Zombros. Going to need some serious help to beat zombies with this hand. Knew the hand wasn't good at the start, though. We knew the hand wasn't good when we kept it. That's why we said it was weak a second ago. Generally feel like a favorite versus zombies, but we may have time to find some rafts or something, but you could have like a Relentless Dead. We have no cast outs. He's going to be getting under us, playing whatever he wants the whole game. I have to counterspell anything he tries to resolve, which is unfortunate. And puts us in a pretty awkward spot. This game's not over, but it's certainly going to be hard to win. Yeah, that's fine. In fact, oh wow. In fact, we just die if he has a Liliana's Mastery. Nothing we can do about it either. Liliana's Mastery just kills us. A Lord just kills us. Sometimes Zombies has these aggro draws, but like the deck's not really an aggro deck, so. It's kind of like this mid-range deck. But when they have a perfect draw and they literally go 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, on turn 4 play double spell, and on turn 5 have another Lord, can't really beat that with anything. Alright, well he didn't have that. So we have some chance to win then. Probably we'll have to find a second Fumigate. Sure. I have 4 chances to find an untapped land. 5 if you think about the last card. We'll put that one on the bottom. That one on top to guarantee our land. And look, we drew the card we put on the bottom, and we drew it before we drew the plains. That's Moto for you. That's Moto for you. You notice that happens a lot on Moto? Because Moto. Sure. But yeah, you'll notice things like that just happen a lot on Moto. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, the game's not over. It's just going to be real hard because of the double Wanderer. Probably just draw an approach and it'd be enough. It's a cast out and a Blessed Alliance. Kinda want to keep both, but probably not worth keeping either. Yeah, we have a ton of extra land. We're gonna put the cast out on the bottom, put the Blessed Alliance on top. I guess we'll take our damage then. Drawing the second Fumigate means we're just gonna take the damage. I want it to cast out, but opponent is making decisions. He tapped the word T. I'm not sure what T means. I'll type U. Might be lagging or something because he typed in chat. Could be lagging or something. In fairness, he's not used a whole lot of his clock. He's only used 3.5 minutes, and we're on like turn 8 or something. Dark Salvation for 1 million? Sure. Cycle that dude. Rip. Guess we make decisions on what we do with our hand after we play the Glimmers. We're pretty definitely going to Bless and Alliance this turn and gain 6 life, but... Oh, well maybe we're not. Maybe he's not going to attack with that many. We may need to find another Fumigate this game. Neither of you are Fumigates, so... Oh, well there's a Fumigate. I guess that makes decisions easier. We found a third Fumigate. Kind of feel bad. Sadly, still not one, but definitely don't mind the third Fumigate. Say get to draw a card. We found another Glimmer on top of that. We might even get to the other Fumigate. We found 3 Fumigates in our top. Well, I guess we scratched some to the bottom, but like our top 30-ish cards, give or take. It's just kind of impressive. Not found any approaches in our top 30-ish cards or whatever, though. Haven't really been paying attention to how many we scratched to the bottom. I'm a little off my game today, to be honest. Really? And he drew a Dark Salvation. Well, we don't have a counterspell still. That's a good one. And he gets to draw some cards? Yeah, that was a very good draw. Don't really want either of those. Well, we found an approach. That should be enough to get us to the end. Especially if we get an untapped land. So it's 7 cards down at best. So we win next turn, I think, if we draw a land. No, we win next turn anyway. We have double mono blue cyclers. For some reason I didn't see the second sensor to begin with. Didn't expect to win this game. That's fun. If we were in a paper tournament, we could just show our opponent our hand. Sure. Mill ourselves 4 cards. So we can press F6. Hey, we hit another 40 in those 4 cards. Or sorry, another approach in those 4 cards. I misspoke. And player approach. Oh, I guess he's conceding it won't let me tap my mana. Yeah. Yeah, he had to be just lagging. He wasn't playing slow or anything. I've been toying with keeping approaches in this match. I haven't ever done it yet, but I've certainly been toying with it. This is the match that we still have the Sense mainly in our sideboard for. I think the Gearhulks are actually pretty good in this match too. I think it's very hard to win with approach post board in this match. I think it's pretty easy to win with the rest of these cards. This is typically how I sideboard. I just try to go big, like slam a Fumigate at some point, or a Descent at some point, and then come out of the gate with our Linvalas and our Regals and win post Fumigate or post Negate or post one of our 6-mana Wraths. This hand's a little slow, but you can't really mulligan 3 lands in a Wrath. Unfortunately, they have Transgresses and stuff, so like this might not be in our hand later. This answer is actually a very welcome draw here as well. Mismatched lands, I'm just now noticing. Yeah. The Fumigate's often just not in your hand later. And then we have a Censor and a Glare. And we have 6 Wraths, so finding another Wrath's usually not that hard. I won't say impossible, but just usually not that hard. Well, there's another Wrath. Now it's just hoping we have it when we get to 5 mana. We're holding on to this Censor because he could be mana screwed. It stops his Liliana Mastery from a turn. Just a number of things. Got rid of a Dark Salvation when he knows we have a kitty in hand. Sure. So if he attacks, we glare something. And if he draws a card, that's fine. Again, gonna hold the Censor to stop Liliana's Mastery from a turn. Oh, there's a second Censor. It's probably worth going ahead and cycling one of these now, because we might hit come into play tapped land. Alright. Well, we have double Descend now, or we have Descend and Fumigate now. We have 4 casts out, so we don't even care too much if a big Liliana resolves. Sorry, a little Liliana. Really? He knows we have the Glare. I guess we'll Censor then. And sure, I guess we'll gamble a little bit and take it. He could have a Transgress, but I think that was the more likely thing he could have had. I assume if he made that play last turn, he's probably got another one of these for this turn. So that makes the third Fumigate a good draw. Though in fairness, we didn't even need to Fumigate if we hit a land. Oh. Didn't hit the land though, so glad to have what we got. It's the third. We've cycled none to the bottom this game, so that's the third Fumigate in our top 15 cards. But we have 6 rafts, and we just needed a land for the descend. So. Well, we have a Glare and a Blessed Alliance, so there's no reason to run a cat into that stuff. I don't think. You can even let one of them deal some damage to us if we wanted. But we're not going to. I think it's better just to kill both of their creatures. He knows we have this one still. So Relentless dead. Hopefully he doesn't have an instant speed removal spell for that. Let's see if we can get him to commit a little bit more to the board. We technically win the race like this. It may get him to play a Dark Salvation or something. We're heading a race though. And we still have a Regal Caracal. And like, there's cast outs and a bunch of things in our deck. So we're just like really far ahead. He knows we have this card as well. Kind of stops him from attacking. Unless he has a follow-up anyway. Oh, another Linvala's Mastery. Well, that's a good follow-up. Whoop, it looks like we'll be trying to resolve a, might as well gain our life. Looks like we're going to be trying to resolve a Descentful next turn. Should we have a high enough life total that we don't really have to, do we? We can just easily win a race from here. I don't think there's any point to try, though, when we know that we can, just play another Linvala and keep going while getting his Relentless Dead off the table. He's already gone through 3 of his Masteries and 1 of his Dark Salvations, so he doesn't have a lot of useful draw steps. So now he's on a 2-turn clock, and we still have a Blessed Alliance, and we still have a Cast Out. I drew our 4th Fumigate if things do go horribly awry. Alright. The Zombies has never been a hard match post-board, but moving on to the next round. Pull up the deck list for those here and for those in the YouTube universe. For those watching today, I very much appreciate it, especially if the Grand Prix on. I would make an assumption that most of you are multitasking it, but I know I would rather be watching the Grand Prix than me, so I can't blame other people who would want to. And our match has done the beginning. So we're playing versus a 2-2. Opponent's trying to obtain a pity chest. And we are 2-1. We're also trying to obtain a pity chest. Now this hand is a quick mulligan. Pretty quick mulligan. This hand's okay. It's going to be good versus some draws. It's going to be bad versus some decks. But overall, it's a keep, I believe. I think we're hoping to not see a basic mountain. Alright, this is one of the matches that is one of our better matches. So when we get a little slower of a hand, this isn't too bad for us. We even have a sensor to try to get his first sneaky snake. We have a cast out to try to get the first Nissa. Generally, I ignore Nissas, but our hand's weak enough that I don't think I'll try to ignore Nissa this game. Alright, well, it's not even a Nissa, so... Okay, well, we don't care about that one. I guess if we have to cycle one, we'd rather cycle this one. Alright, well, we're not going to cycle any more cards because we hit the land. And his Walking Ballista is going to get to deal some amount of damage to us. If he pumps up his Ballista next turn, it'll probably get glared. If not, we'll probably just glimmer and go on about our day. We're in an okay spot. So we're definitely taking 1 damage. We're not even considering killing this. Opponent has 6 cards in hand though, so he could have a lot of good follow-ups. Taking a long time to get through this attack phase though. Alright. So now your turn to show us whether you're a Delirium or an Energy deck or what. It's your time to shine. Kinda like these. Hadn't really paid attention to the art of the newer lands recently, but I've been a fan. He's changing his mind about what he's playing. Oh, wow, he's got the blue in the deck. The Scarab God's actually a little scary. This build may not be that great for us. I like the blue splash in the black-green decks a heck of a lot more than I like the blue splash in the Teamer decks. I don't think it makes sense in the Teamer decks at all. Alright, well, we need to find probably a Fumigate, but we'll see what he plays. Probably just going to take damage and look for a Fumigate, but I may not. I may just kill this thing. Yeah, I don't think I hate killing that thing. I'm just going to take it, though. They are. The Teamer deck is pretty nice. I just don't like Scarab God in the deck. I would rather have the third Glorybringer before the first Scarab God. I'm pretty confident about that. I guess I don't want either of these now. This game's going okay, but it's could do a rather large amount of damage with this ballista. No, God no. Sorry, I'm out of misspoke. I want to cut the black from Teamer. I want to cut the black. I want to cut Scarab God from Teamer. I just think the Glorybringer is better than the first Scarab God in that deck. However, I do think Scarab God's better than Gearhulk in this deck, so that's kind of odd. He didn't put a counter on his ballista either. Him not putting a counter on that ballista is super frightening for me. I'm not using the Blessed Alliance because I still want to hold up Supreme Will because I'm kind of that afraid of Scarab God. And I want the Walking Ballista off the table more than I want the Rishkar off the table. And if he commits nothing to the board again, we can just draw 2 again. Opponent has 5 cards and he didn't play anything last turn and he didn't put a counter on last turn, so I don't know what could be in his hand. But whatever it is probably not great for me. He tapped a blue. Alright, well, I will counterspell that. Whatever he plays has to be worse than Tracker, I think. He could also just not have anything else. This is very reasonable as well. Any black-green deck probably has multiple removal spells, so he could easily just have a couple. I feel like this game's taking a very long time, but like, it also, like, you know, I've only taken 3.5 minutes off my clock. He's only taken 4.5 off his, so like, it's not really taking that long of a time. It just feels very slow for some reason. Can't really explain it. Maybe it's just one of those days where it just feels like things are going in slow motion today. And this is a card that we never care about. I think I'm gonna take a land. No, I'm just gonna take the Glamour. Well, at some point we're going to draw a good card, I believe. Or at some point we're going to draw an approach. Need to keep counting how many cards I scratch at the bottom, but my heart's just not been in the math today. Short. Voice can ultimate. I'll voice once the ultimate. That's fine as well. Opponent attacked with the plant. You don't know how few people do that. I instantly get impressed when I see that because there's so very few people that do it. Yes, as bad as that sounds, that's something that impresses me because so few people do it. Can keep the cast out for this, but I don't really want to. I guess it's better than not. Well, there's an approach, so. Seven cards. Sure. He didn't make the Quagmire creature first. Oh, he's not making the Quagmire creature. Okay, that's fair. So 7 cards. 4 are going to go to the Rivulet. And or the Supreme Will, whichever we want. So that leaves 3 cards plus 2 draw steps, so we only want to cycle 1 card. So yeah, I think we only want to cycle 1 card. Let's go ahead and cycle this so I can press F6. So that's 1. This is 2. The next draw step will be 3. And the Supreme Will be the other 4. We'll finally get to see our opponent does have Scarab God. And the Rivulet and or the Will gets us to the approach. Whichever we prefer. Take a cast out, I guess. It doesn't really matter. And we did approaching things. Never played versus the black-green decks of Scarab God. It's going to be kind of... My sideboarding plan is going to be a little odd because of that. So we're setting here. Okay. Opponents decided to concede. Normally versus black-green, I just bring in these 8 cards. But now that he has Scarab God, I kind of want to bring in 1 or 2 of these. We know we don't want approaches, and we know that we can shave on some of these cards. I believe it's also fine to shave on this card. The last card is generally a hieroglyph for me that I sideboard out, but I'm trying to decide if I want to play it a little bit differently if I'm bringing in the Descends. Trying to decide even if I want the Descends. Might be a little hard for us to win with things like this. kind of want to try one Descend. At least. When you draw gas, that means a positive thing that somewhat is tempo based. Can you define the slang of drawing gas? I guess the easiest way to say it is in uh, terms of gaming. That basically just means like filling up your car or something, like you're getting something you want, like you're getting somewhere. You're finding a card that helps you get to your objective. Whether if you're playing like an aggressive deck, it can be just drawing some one drops from like Rana or Ramunet Red or whatever. When you're playing this deck, it's like finding more card draw spells or your fumigates. It's finding the cards that help advance your game plan, just like it would help advance like a car like moving forward or whatever. That it can be different things based on what the deck is, but basically it just means something positive's happened. Basically, it's just slang for something positive is happening. I kind of want to try to sideboard out one of the approaches. Nah, just not going to try this Descend. Well, we have to mulligan again. This hand's about everything we want. This card's questionable. It's good versus some of his draws, it's bad versus some of his draws, so arbitrarily I think I just put it on the bottom. Or not arbitrarily, but like I tend to put it on the bottom to be safer. Grimflare, that's a good one. If we knew he was a Grimflare deck, we might have kept the Blessed Alliance. Or sorry, we might have kept the Glare. I guess we could have inferred that it was going to be a Grimflare deck based on the Scarab God, but he didn't show us a Traverse or anything. He can't really attack now. He knows we have the Blessed Alliance. He can't really not attack either because he knows we have the Cast Out. It's better just to use it now. For him, I guess. The Transgress getting our Glimmer is a pretty good starting point for him. Alright, well, he knows we have a Cast Out. So he's going to take one card. He could have Blossoming Defense, but that's not a particularly popular card. Or he could just be trying to tap us out for the Scarab God. Either way, we can't let him draw more cards. We don't really have an option, and that's one of the reasons that I wasn't looking forward to this deck post-board. Because the Scarab God gives him a real 5-drop to play, whereas the Gearhulks don't give him any 5-drop that we care about. Him getting to scry with that card is very extremely good for him, so we'll go ahead and get that off the table. We still have a Cast Out for a Scarab God now if he draws it. This looks like it's just a Walking Ballista. Southball, that means you're going outside, man. Who wants to go outside? There's like indoor things to do. Sure. I guess if that's the play he's making this turn, I'm willing to cast out the Ballista. prevents 3 damage, and if he's just going to try to attack us down, we're going to have to do it at some point anyway. So it's better to go ahead and get it off the table. Damn, we need a 7th land. Could have cycled that, but... So another Grimflare. And he has enough to attack with, but he's choosing not to attack. That's odd. I guess he could be worried about a Blessed Alliance now. That's the biggest of creatures on the table, so I'm willing to keep it. I think we'll keep the cast out as well, in case things go poorly. Well, that's, I think we'll play this one. It puts 3 blockers out there for the Grimflare. So even if he got like a Verdus Gearhulk or whatever, the Grimflare doesn't attack through the table. So he has 1 card in his hand now. We'll snap block with all of them. I will block with all 3 kitties. Our opponent's going to think this is Pet Cemetery if that little flare attacks. Just going to slam this too. I feel like I'm the aggressor now. Approach says from hand, so keep in mind you can't win by casting 2 approaches. What's our opponent have now going on? Alright, so he drew that. That's fine. I mean, I'll block the crap out of things. I guess he could have drawn a removal spell of some kind. Don't really know. Attacking of both casts doesn't really do anything. Or blocking of both casts doesn't really do anything. Attacking or blocking of this cat was kind of bad, to be honest. Nah. I actually found that out yesterday on stream. I didn't know myself. I'd never bothered to read the card, I guess. Let's see if this resolves. Because if this resolves on the Grimflare, we're just going to attack with everything. It's a 3-turn clock, and it can be the Scarab God. Now, some guy was gaunting me a bunch yesterday, and I mentioned that I wanted nothing more than them to kill me that way, and somebody in the chat had to inform us of the actual rules. I was super sad about it. Alright. Well. For anybody new, by the way, look down below. Link to the Twitter. Twitter, all the deck lists I play are there. Every time I go live's there. And there's a link to the YouTube. And if you're on the Twitter, or if you're on the YouTube, the exact same thing is for you guys in the description. Thank you for following One Tester 2. So we'll play first here. This hand's got a bunch of white cards in it, but it's got a Scry, and it's got a Supreme Will, and it's got a Censor. Or sorry, it's got a Cycle, it's got a Supreme Will, and the Censor doesn't have to be cycled, so I think it's good enough to keep. You also don't need these spells on turn 1 or 2 unless it's exactly Ramunap Red, which he may or may not be, showing us the mountain there. Either way, we have a Censor and a Supreme Will, so... 15 days ago, our opponent apparently played Temur, and looks like now he's on red. I like this match post-board a decent amount. Pre-board, it's not that great, especially when they don't have the super aggressive draws. But we did get an authority down, which buys us a lot of time. We don't have anything in our hand to handle Hazoret, though, which is a little disappointing. We're approaching, pun intended, approaching a 1900 rating with this deck. Probably take whatever damage he throws here because the Supreme Wills are just more relevant. Whether it be finding us a 5th land, or whether it be counterspelling one of his good 4-drops, or whether it be counterspelling a 3-drop we don't care about. Either way, the Supreme Will's probably more important than whatever damage he's going to use. I guess we'll take the damage. That might be worth counterspelling. That card's actually kind of threatening. We really just want to draw an untapped land. It's the best thing we could draw here. This game's looking okay, but we have to hit lands. We have to hit several of them, even. It's probably kind of bad for us, to be honest, since our opponent still has 4 cards in hand. And we missed on the first land, so... Missing on that land's probably Alshiro. So we're probably going to need to counter something else. Yeah, we have to take another 4. Can't counterspell that one, unfortunately. I mean, we could, but it's just worth more for us to Glimmer here. I think we'll put that one on bottom and this one on top. I guess he gets to resolve whatever he wants now. If it's a Chandra, we're in super bad shape. If it's an Hazoret, we don't really care. What did he just do? Oh, never mind. He sacrificed the one of the artifacts. Sure. Don't care too much about the Hazoret. Like I said, it's good, but it's nothing that we can't beat. We do have the full forecast out, so. It's obviously very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. Our results have been very, very good. Over the past just 3 days, we've gone 5-0, 5-0, 4-1, and we're currently 3-1. The results have been extremely good. It's a little over 70% total, though, but we've made a lot of changes the past few days that have all felt pretty good. They feel like they've increased our win percentage a fair amount. Alright, well, we'll grab random land. Put those cards on the bottom. That was actually a play mistake by me. I just made a small play mistake. I should have got the Rivulet. The Rivulet would have let him, or let us win a turn quicker than what we'll win now. And we may not win because of that. Yeah, that was a pretty large mistake. We still could, like, there's no guarantee that we lose. This Supreme Will could find us a number of relevant cards. And we could just have an approach on top of our deck. He's also got 3 cards in his hand, too. Like, there's a non-zero chance that it's hard for him to attack for 5 this turn without giving us life. Alright, well, he got to attack us. Oh, well, we just drew an approach, so it doesn't matter. That's one of the great things about this deck. We'll look at our top cards and see if we had to hit the approach or not. We may not have even had to hit it. Like, we certainly wasn't going to die the next turn. If the Supreme Will hit a single Cycler or a Blessed Alliance... Okay, there's a Cycler, so yeah, we would have got to it. So yeah, opponent couldn't win. We didn't have to have that approach. We even hit the Blessed Alliance. So we would have the option of killing both of his creatures or just winning on the following turn. Alright. Well, sideboard games are a little bit more different. Yeah, whatever. So we bring in the Chandras. We bring in the Caracals. By the way, this card is super MVP. And we bring in the Linvalas. Come on, Linvalas. There you go. Cards that I've not liked. I don't like some of these slower draw spells. They're fine for cycling, but you generally don't have enough time to do them all. You generally don't ever want to draw more than 1 Fumigate in a match versus the red decks, because it is incredibly slow. And the Supreme Wills, I like a little bit more on the play than the draw. This is the one match that we've been shaving on these Effort Meltdowns because the red decks have been becoming less and less popular. But if the red decks are going to pick up, we really need the Meltdowns. This is the one match that not having Meltdown as opposed to Immolating Glare, like, really stands out as being bad. We have added the extra cast out though, so... But we're still missing a few answers to Hazoret. So hopefully this goes well. And we're at about 2 hours and 5 minutes at the moment. This hand's a little on the slower side. We have none of our very fast interaction. I'm mostly going to keep this hand due to science. I don't think this hand is a keep. I want to see how powerful this card actually is. So we're going to keep this card mostly for science. Or keep this hand. I keep saying card. My bad. I'm sorry. We're going to keep this hand mostly for science. This is one of the things I like to do a little bit. I like to try to test a little bit when I'm playing leagues. And the second authority was about the best draw that I probably could have found in that spot. But, like, we still take a large number of damage right now. So, like, he can smash for 5. Cast out and see if we find an answer. I won't cast the answer even if we do find it, because I'd rather be able to censor a Chandra. Let's go ahead and yield to those. No land, friends. Alright, well, certainly not going to win without a land, and we're just dead now. He can beat us on board before we can draw 2 lands, so... He could have attacked for 10. It's kind of odd that he didn't. Actually gain a life with him playing that. This has to be a land to have any chance. I don't think we have any chance anyway, but since he played the Kenra instead of just killing us, I guess there's some chance of his hand's weak. There's probably not any. I mean, that's an attack for 10. He can have any 3 mana burn spell and he wins. If not, we have to untap. But yeah, like I said, I thought this hand was weak at the beginning. I was keeping it out of science. And I actually think we would have won had we hit a land drop. But we would have only won because we hit the second authority. So even a shot kills us. Double burn spell definitely kills us. Yeah, double burn spell definitely kills us. Opponent took a while to figure that one out. Yeah. Oh well. If we'd hit the land, I think we would have got there pretty easily. Is there anything else I want to sideboard out? Not really. I'm just going to run it back. This deck most commonly loses when it misses land drops. Doesn't really lose a lot of games that it hits all its lands. This is another very weak hand, but it's better than the hand we just had. Do I want to mulligan? Yeah, I guess we need to mulligan again. This hand's about the same as what we just had, with just one less card. It's still just better to get the censor out. Being able to stop them making plays is better. They normally sneak something through, and when you're going into your turn 3, which is they're generally attacking with something, you just... we'll keep... This hand's pretty weak. And we have to keep the land, even though I don't even want it. This hand's not a good hand, by the way. I would be pretty shocked to win. The Caracals are amazing though, so if his hand's bad enough, the Caracal can do things. Like if he just shocks our face right here or something. The Supreme Wheels could have been good. I could have sideboarded out another approach. This is the first time that I've had all 3 approaches in this match. It's also the first time I played this match and not had all, not had the 3 Ephor meltdowns, which are kind of important. Just preventing damage here. Our opponent not having 1-drops is actually kind of not good for us. Hopefully he plays a 3-drop and gets censored. That's not a 3-drop. That's not a 3-drop at all. Let's just start with censoring this, or cycling this one. Have to cycle this one too, because we have to try to hit the land. Well, we get to play a Caracal. Hopefully it'll be good enough. He showed us that he left a lot of burn spells in though, so it's probably not good enough. Trying to F2 through these phases as fast as possible to at least give the impression that we F6'd. Right on time, authority. He's still got 4 cards in hand. He has more cards in hand than we do right now. And he has a bigger board. And he has a Glorybringer. That's a number of things that are good here. It's definitely worth it to block here, I believe. I like it when we draw the 40s right on time. Could have drawn the exact same cards and just in a different order and probably not lost this game. The literal exact same cards in a different order and probably not lost this game. Second Pia. That is stellar. These cards do nothing right now. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I just died to like a million things. This thing's gonna die no matter what, so might as well attack with it. If I left them both back, it would have made a Collective Defiance worse, but that feels a little thin. He has a second Glorybringer. It can attack now, so I guess that's good. Alright, well, he brought in Skyboat versus my deck, and that kind of mind blows me. That being said, we're not dead this turn, so if we draw a Fumigate, we probably have an advantage again if we draw the Fumigate. There's only 2 in the deck though, so the odds of drawing one are obviously absurdly low. But most of these decks don't do that. Well, that is a redraw to still try to draw the Fumigate. Didn't get there. Well, look at our rating before we concede. Really? It's just 1865? That's kind of odd. It was 1868 before we started today, so we went 3-1 and lost 2 points. Anyway, doesn't matter. GG to opponent. Had to mulligan both game 2 and 3, and I think if we drew these exact same cards in a different order, we would have won. But that's fine. I think we would have won pretty easily. If we did a Fumigate there, I still think we would have won this game pretty easily. But, you know, and it ends the streak. It had been several days since we'd got lower than a 4-1. The changes. I'm really loving the 4th cast out main. Didn't really get to try that card too much. The land count seems fine. Might go on up to another Rivulet. Anyway, so that's going to be it for me for today. I'm going to find somebody to host. And then I'm going to bail out of here. Looking to see if I can find a standard player to host, and I can't, so we're going to host Simulon. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I don't know how to spell anything.